Hey there, fellow vegetable nerds. Hey, guess who's not dead? Ah! I know I've been gone a while, and I have been aware of that, and I've been thinking about you all, although at the same time, time moves a little strangely for me, so it feels like it's been a while, but it doesn't feel like it's been as long as it's been. I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, it's been like weeks. And I'm really sorry about that. Things have been like hella hectic. I am still like kind of stressed out by this job. Uh, and just like exhausted. And also, I don't know if you were aware of this, but it got like real heckin' hot in the Pacific Northwest. It went up to 115 degrees. And I was thinking, oh, we've got these great AC units in the apartment. We're going to be fine. Because on a normal day, no matter what it's doing outside, it's freezing in here. We keep it like a Morgan here. When it got up to 115 degrees, it was like 85 in here. And like our ACs were chugging. And they're like, I think I can. And I'm like, I think you can't. You're certainly not so far. And I was planning on doing, I had these episodes planned and I was going to be like, oh, here's some great vegetables to keep you cool and keep you hydrated and all kinds of stuff like that. And I had all of these plans. And then I was going to do something about like, hey, you can eat vegetables even when it's hot and you don't want to like do things that make heat in your apartment, you know, so maybe you don't want to use your stove or things like that. And I was going to talk about some other options. I will still do these things in the future. But when it hit 115 degrees, all those plans were just like, no, none of that's gonna happen. No. I am not I don't like to be warm. I really don't like to be warm. Speaking of which, if you're hearing noise in the background, we're just all gonna have to deal with that because that's the sound of the AC and I'm not turning it off. I apologize. So, but in general, things are going okay. Brian's back to traveling again, which is great for both of us. He's at Disney right now, which is his happy place, and I'm really excited for him. He's been looking forward to that for a really long time, and he's with some friends. They're having a wonderful time. While he is away, I get some alone time, which I very, very much need, but also if he's not here, he's not helping me edit. So, again, this is what my video is going to look like, and my phone is currently propped up on some spice jars. If it falls, it stays in the picture. I still don't know how to edit video. Ta-da! But I missed you all, and I didn't want to put nothing out. So here I am with my dirty hair and in my work attire, which when you work from home, like you're lucky I'm wearing a shirt. Sometimes I don't. But I just wanted to hang out and talk to you for a little bit, and maybe we could hang out and enjoy some food together. Guess what I'm eating right now? I got a plate of green beans. I know that I sometimes talk about like fancy foods and exciting new things to try and stuff like that, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that like just regular old grocery store vegetables are super good. And the important thing I really want to impart today is that you don't have to get fancy with it. And you don't have to put a lot of effort into it. And sometimes we forget how good simple things simply can be. So I was feeling hungry, and I remembered yesterday I had some really delicious green beans, and I had, okay, so here's a story. It's not that good a story, but like I'm gonna tell it anyway. So you know I like my fancy things. I had bought a little tin of these like mackerel fillets in like a fancy mustard sauce, but it's all in French, so that's fancy, and it's like mackerel, you know, and a sauce moutarde. So I'm sorry, France. I'm so sorry. And so I had that sitting in my pantry forever, and I didn't know what to do with it, because that's what I do. I buy things with the intention of someday becoming a person who knows what to do with them, okay? And it was real hot, as I mentioned, and I was like, you know what, let's bust it out. And I had heard that you can put it on toast, and it's a nice thing, so I tried that, and I was like, oh, this is delicious. The mustard sauce was delicious. It was like creamy, and the fish was delicious. And I had some asparagus to kind of give it a little bit of something peppery, and I had some Persian cucumbers to give it something like light and crisp, and like cut some of like the fattiness, and it was just like really good, really, really good. But the sauce was delicious, and I had extra, so I saved it. I was gonna make a salad dressing from it. And it would have been a good salad dressing. But I went and I looked at my spring mix, and my spring mix had sprung because I went for a few days without really doing a whole lot of intensive cooking, and spring mix doesn't really have a great shelf life. So I was looking through my fridge and I was like, what am I going to do with this sauce? And I just had this idea, I should make some green beans and dump it on there, and I did. So if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, you will have seen I posted a picture. It's not a great picture, it's just a plate of green beans with just like some stuff, you know. That's all it has to be. This is the thing. You don't have to go like super crazy fancy with it. You can just eat something yummy that took you 5 minutes to make. Green beans are one of those simple pleasures in life that we forget how good they are and how easy they are to make. And I have looked through all kinds of fancy recipes, and there's a million fancy recipes, and there's a million fancy things you can do with them. And I do all kinds of crazy things with green beans. I love them roasted with like some olive oil and like tons of chili peppers and some coarse salt. I love it like that. And I can saute them and like char them and do all kinds of things. But if you've got 5 minutes, you can just toss them in a pot with some water and some salt. And 5 minutes later, you're gonna have something to eat. So let's not lose sight of that. It's really important to remember. And even with just the salt that they're cooked in, are delicious. Okay? Now, one thing people will tell you when you're boiling your green beans is that you should have like a thing of ice water so that they don't keep overcooking and blah blah blah, and like that is an amount of preparation I'm probably just not gonna do. Like let's just be super honest here, because you can aspire to be a person who has all the time and energy to do all the things, or you can be a person that is realistic and eats food. So let's be that person. So I have found that a better trick to figure out how long to boil your green beans, you just boil them until like you kind of test one and it's not as done as you want it to be. It's still kind of crunchy. Turn the heat off, take it off the burner, go do something else for a minute, like figure out what kind of thing you want to put on it or have with it or something, you know, not for too long because they will continue cooking, but you know, look away from it for a minute, and when you come back to it, just the residual heat of that water is going to cook it the rest of the way. But get it out of the pan or the pot. I guess you wouldn't boil in a pan. It does not matter. Boil it in whatever you want to, you know, boil it in a bucket, boil it in a shoe, I don't care. But get it out of there. You could also, instead of leaving it in the water, you could just take it out and let the residual heat do it. But if you do that too early, it's going to be a little bit crunchy. This is going to be a thing they're going to play around with. Most of cooking, you will find, is just trial and error and figuring out how you like it. And the nice thing about green beans is that even if you don't cook them enough, they're still yummy. You know, they call them like crisp tender. I like them a little bit more done than that, but I'm still happy to have them when they're kind of a little bit crunchy. If you overcook them, they're not quite as nice, but they're not going to taste bad. These are a little softer than I would normally make them. I'm still happy. Also, they're like a fun finger food. You can just sit on the computer doing your thing. Sometimes we just want something we can pick up and kind of absent-mindedly snack on. It doesn't have to be chips. It doesn't have to be candy. It doesn't have to be, you know, something like that. It can be. If it's what you want, you go ahead and have that. Okay? This is not about like, oh, you're not allowed to have chips, so you should have something healthy instead and pretend it's what you wanted. No, have the thing you want. But just be aware, this might be a thing you want. Try it out. They also sometimes explode when you bite into them. And that is not fun. So another nice thing, and an opportunity presented by your green beans. Green bean opportunities. Inquire within. Another great thing about them is that because they are a fairly neutral flavor, they're a good opportunity to try out. Maybe you bought some spice mixes. I certainly don't know anybody who buys spice mixes without knowing what to do with them. Maybe you bought some condiments. Maybe you bought lots and lots of condiments. It's a good opportunity to whip some out and see what's going to be good. Guess what I discovered? I was going to wait to try it with you guys. But in my first attempt at this video, I went ahead and tried it. So, spoiler alert, I already know it's good. I got some kimchi mayo. There was like a thing on Facebook where they were like, hey, do you want to try a bottle for free? And I was just like, yeah. So, you take your kimchi mayo, just put a little, whoop, just do like that. Those flavors love each other. So I thought, what else do I have that's similar? I may just continue with this. That's good enough. I also have some Beaver brand creamy sriracha horseradish. These guys are like really close to where I live. They're made right here in the town that I live in. So I feel, why does everything explode? Is there anything in my home that doesn't just randomly explode? So these guys are super yummy. This stuff here in particular, by the way, if you enjoy roasted Brussels sprouts, you dip it in this. And it kind of tastes a little bit like the sauce that you get with an Awesome Blossom if you've ever been to Outback Steakhouse. It kind of tastes like that. If you put this on roasted Brussels sprouts, oh my god, it's so good. Let's see if it's good on green beans. Just gonna dip that guy in there. Yeah, it works. I don't think this is as fresh as it used to be. Well, who among us is as fresh as we used to be? But I think I might not continue with this one. Let's see, best before. I probably won't die of that. So then the other thing I thought I might try, because why not? I've got some chili garlic sauce from Hoi Fong Foods. These are the same people who make sriracha. Well, lots of people make sriracha, but these are the guys who make the sriracha that most of us are familiar with. Just, I don't see a date. It's probably fine. You gotta die of something. Just gonna bloom some of that on the plate. Sorry you can't see all this. I mean, technically you could. I could hold it up, but like... It's not bad. I don't love it. But I do love this. So I had the opportunity to try 3 things and see what I like. I do kind of generally think if you're trying something for the first time, this is not my first time trying green beans by any means, but maybe it's yours. Try it 3 ways, you know, try cooking it in 3 different preparations, try 3 different sauces. You know, you can always try something and not like it and not realize that there's other ways to have it that you might like way better. So always keep that in mind. By the way, I was gonna make this its own post, but I'm not real good at making videos lately, so I might as well just get this out of the way right here. And also, it's been like a month since I said I was gonna make this. Can I just remind you of a very, very important thing about trying new vegetables? Don't just put stuff in your mouth. I know that that sounds like a very obvious thing, but please, please, for me, as a personal favor, don't just put stuff in your mouth. Do you remember those mushrooms? Remember how much I joked about how they were potentially poisonous? Guess what? They're poisonous mushrooms. I looked them up after I ate them, and normally I would never have just put something in my mouth, especially like a mushroom or something like that, without knowing more about it. But I felt kind of awkward because I had thought about trying a couple other things, and I sort of chickened out because I'm not a brave person. And I was like, people aren't gonna want to watch this. I gotta eat something here. And so, against my better judgment, I ate some of those mushrooms, and then I looked them up, and guess what? First of all, they must be cooked. These honey mushrooms that I ate, just to remind you, this was in the one where I went to this was the last one I did, where I was hanging out in like a Russian deli, they were tasty. But if you don't cook them, they are poisonous. Okay? Now, they were cooked because they were pickled, and cooking is part of the pickling process, but even still. The other thing to know about them is that some people, even when they're cooked, some people can't tolerate them. And they say that you should start with maybe just a few, just to see how you do with them. Because some people just like, nom, 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 and no problems. Some people, apparently, it is just like an excretaganza of massive proportions. It's like intensity in 10 cities. It is a big deal, you know? And luckily, I was okay. Also, I only had a couple. The other thing I found out about these particular mushrooms is that you can't have them within like 24 hours of consuming alcohol. Otherwise, your liver explodes. I don't know. Bad things. I don't drink very much, but I did have a drink earlier that day, and I was reading it just like the one and I was really upset. I'm still alive, probably. Yeah, I'm still alive. But it just goes to show you, you should know what you are about to eat. Not everything is uniformly safe, and not everything is going to be labeled, you know? For instance, you can buy taro in a million places, but if you don't cook taro, you're going to be very unhappy. You can't just eat that raw. Is it always labeled? No. You just have to know it. Or, you know, just a word to the wise. Google it first. If you're not familiar with what you're eating, Google the shit out of it. Even if it turns out that it's fine and there's nothing that you need to know and it's not a big deal, you know, just to be on the safe side, raw kidney beans can kill you. We eat them all the time. We don't even think about it. Raw kidney beans can kill you. How many? Not many. It doesn't take much. Please Google things before you eat them. Learn from my fail, okay? I got lucky. Don't take chances. You shouldn't need luck when you have, you know, strong like bull, smart like tractor. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna eat some green beans. I don't know. I'm in a weird mood. It's just nice to be back hanging out with you guys. I'm glad my camera didn't fall. I will try and do this more often. I will try my damnedest. Hey, the light got weird in here. Has it been weird in here? Why am I all sepia? Oh. Oh, hey. Also, fun fact, I'm in the process of being evaluated for ADHD. Who is surprised? Anybody? No? Okay. I will do this again. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for being patient. More is coming, etc. Like and subscribe for some reason. Look at all the things I have posted in the thing there. That's it.